Participating in an election isn't normally life-risking. But in a certain part of Mexico, participating in elections is literally putting your life on the line. That's what happened with Alma Barragan. How does a promising candidate get assassinated only 2 weeks after she is appointed? And indirectly, Facebook may have played a big part in her assassination. This is the story of Alma Barragan, and in today's video, we are going to take you through her life journey. From a promising election candidate to a shootout victim, watch the video till the end so you don't miss out on anything. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to our channel if topics like this interest you. Also, press the notification bell to never miss an update. Alma Rosa Barragan Santiago was a mayoral candidate for the June 6, 2021 elections in Mexico. Little to no information is available about who she was and what she did before her political venture. All we know is that she was a 61-year-old shop owner and a member of the Citizens Movement who was running for the mayoral position of Moroleon, Guanajuato. The Citizen Movement is a social democratic party that believes in and promotes the protection of human rights and gender equality. The 2021 elections in Mexico is filled with bloodbath. It can be considered one of the worst elections ever, as more than 35 candidates have been assassinated before the election date. Originally, Alma wasn't the party's first choice for a candidate. She also wasn't very popular among people. But after the party's initial choice was dropped out of the race, they chose her to fill the position. Despite knowing the danger, Alma was ready to risk everything. She gave her best to reach out to potential voters and traveled around doing campaigns. Slowly, her campaign started gaining popularity, but unfortunately, as her admirers grow, so did her enemies. Before long, Alma was also considered a threat to be eliminated. Alma was only 2 weeks into her campaign when she was attending an outdoor event in the Guanajuato municipality of Moroleon. During the event, Alma posted a video to Facebook calling out to potential voters from La Maguita, El Ombligo, and Pico de Pajaro neighborhood to come meet her, ask questions, and listen to her government plans. In a Facebook Live to voters on May 25th, the mayoral candidate said, "Hello, how are you? I'm here in La Maguita with Pedro Guzman. If you'd like to join me, come and hear my proposals. Come to spend a moment together. Together we do better. Thank you, I'll wait for you." Unfortunately for Alma, potential voters weren't the only ones watching her live. People who were involved in some of the previous candidates' assassinations also took note of her location and decided to pay her a visit. According to witnesses, the candidate was in the middle of her speech about violence when she was struck by a bullet. Armed men showed up about an hour after the video was spread and openly fired at the candidate, killing her and injuring 2 others in the process. Witness confirms that at least 10 shots were heard being fired and that one of them struck the cameraman who was filming Barragan during her speech. The whole crowd of onlookers was in disarray, but the culprit had already fled the scene after the task was done. Alma was severely wounded and died soon after. The worst part was that her family was present during the event. Both her son and daughter saw their mother being executed mid-speech. Because this case had gained a lot of local and international attraction, Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador immediately announced 2 possible suspects behind the event. After the assassination, a rumor started to spread that the assassination attempt was made by an organized crime group. Not long after, the authorities started alleging that Alma's 36-year-old son, Fernando Sanchez, was a high-ranking leader for the Jalisco New Generation cartel. Many newspapers also reported that he plays an active part in overseeing cells that operate in Guanajuato cities, solidifying the idea that there may have been a personal vendetta against the assassination. The newspaper even obtained proof in the form of an investigation report that stated that Sanchez rose in rank soon after the arrest of Jose La Tripa Martinez in June 2020. But later in an interview, Sanchez denied all allegations about his link to a cartel, firmly stating that Barragan's assassination was a direct result of the disagreement she had with her political rival. He absolutely rejected the idea of a crime organization being behind his mother's assassination. The direct culprits are yet to be found. Soon after her mother's death, Barragan's daughter received an offer to replace her mother and run for the mayor position. She accepted the request, but with the voting date only 5 days away, she opted to stay safe and away from doing any public campaign. Nobody can blame Alma's daughter for playing safe. After all, Mexico's 2021 election has been anything but smooth sailing. Throughout this election season, Mexico has seen the death of 88 politicians, 35 of which were candidates running for the mayor position. This is considered as one of the most violent elections in the history of Mexico. When asked about the deaths, President Andrés Manuel López Obrador said that there is no doubt that the killings are executed by organized crime gangs who are killing candidates to scare the voters and party away from the polls. Some say that the mafia is so active during this election because they want to place someone who favors them in the power position so they can operate without interference from police or local government. While this isn't the first time Mexico has seen such interference, it's certainly the most violent of them all. Hundreds of candidates have been threatened or forced, which led to many of them dropping out for their own safety and their families. This election has also seen numerous abduction cases and assassinations in a short time. Most of the time, this violence is divided among all parties equally, but they like to particularly go against the opposing incumbent party, who mainly promises to rid violence and gang problems. Gangs don't pay much attention to the nationwide election. They're more actively involved in the local small cities election, whose candidates are less guarded and very easy to manipulate over to their side. This election has become a struggle for municipal power, and it's also becoming clear that the gangs are now desperate to gain more control over the authorities to save their drug trafficking business. To do this, sometimes the crime organization chooses a candidate and outright supports them, all the while ordering their men to take care of the competition, threaten, or kill. Whatever gets the job done. It's tragic how 35 mayoral candidates were slain within a few months. The main problem is the security of the candidates. The authorities have provided security to a total of 148 candidates. That doesn't even scratch the surface of the 1,000 candidates that are running for the election. There was one instance in the town of Xochitepec when the mayoral candidate had to drop out of the race after someone had tried to run her off the road, and she began receiving threatening messages on her phone. When her 8-year-old son pleaded with her to drop out of the election, she decided to seek protection and decided against rallying in public. This doesn't even scratch the surface of the things that happened. In 2012, when an avocado farmer denounced the existence of organized crime in Uruapan, his adult sons went missing soon after, never to be seen again. Mayoral candidates are often kidnapped and stay missing. They get warnings and chances to pull out of the elections, and finally, when nothing works, they are taken out using extreme measures. Alma Barragan was the 34th victim who vowed to combat crime and bring peace to the citizens. She described herself as a social warrior who was more than willing to donate her salary to build a shelter for children. As a person who vowed to curb violence, it's sad to see her go in such a violent way. But on a good note, her daughter has picked her mother's dream and is determined to make it happen. So maybe not all is lost. What are your thoughts about the 2021 elections in Mexico? How peaceful are elections in your state? Let us know in the comments. Also, like this video and subscribe to our channel for more.